Susana Kennedy Show. It's that Kennedy. The crazy caring cat. The Susana Kennedy Show.
Hi, I'm Susana Kennedy. My first guest is Jessica Cox. Jessica was born without arms, and she holds the world record for two different things. The first being the first human being, not man or woman, but the first human being to have a pilot's license. Yes, that's right. She has a pilot's license with no arms. She's also the first human being to have a black belt in Taekwondo. She dances, she surfs, she puts in her contacts and makeup with her toes. This is the incredible woman who is reaching for the stars, who doesn't believe in limits and believes that fear is the only limit. Jessica Cox, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here.
I remember that as a child, I always wanted to fly like Superwoman over my playground because I was so angry about how limited I was. When I was born, my mom was just devastated. You know, you envision your child to be perfect. 10 fingers, 10 toes. She didn't know, what kind of life could I lead?
I was depressed. I don't want any visitors. I closed the curtain and I said, no, let me be by myself to think over what did I do wrong.
My mom was going to take care of me for the rest of my life. I knew that it would be hard for her to let me go. As a child, everyone had something I didn't have, and I knew that people reacted to me different. Having prosthetic arms, people called me Hook or Robot Girl. I struck out against that to prove that I could be as independent as anyone.
6 years old, I put her in the dance.
I remember the teacher announcing that we were going to have our dance recital on stage in front of all our family and friends, and I didn't want any part of that. And I was so nervous, all I could do was look down at my tap shoes. And then came the time when there was a first round of applause.
She wanted to dance in the back row. She didn't know if she would want to be in the recital or not. And by showtime, she was ready to dance. And I've seen such a wonderful change in her.
My entire life, I'd never met anyone with the same condition as me, but I remember seeing a TV piece about a woman. Her name was Barbara Guerra, and she was a young mom. And I went over to her house, and she goes over and she picks this little baby up. She was changing the baby's diaper. And after that, I was a different person. It's really incredible how one person can be that difference for someone.
Jessica Cox.
When was the last time you said, I can't? How many of you said, I can't today? And guess what are the two words that I've eliminated from my vocabulary? I can't. I write with my toes. Did I drive a car with my feet? I use nunchucks with my feet. And actually in about a month I'm getting married. How many of you really believe that I fly an airplane without any arms? Let me check how much we got in here.
It was 3 years of challenges, but because I had that drive and that desire, I knew that that was going to get me there. The first challenge I had in flight training, buckling up the harness. I actually stood up on the seat, buckled the harness first, loosened the straps, slipped in. Flying is the ultimate form of independence.
Our next guest is living proof that you can accomplish anything. Please welcome Jessica Cox.
Her name landed in the Guinness World Record for being the first woman to fly a plane without arms.
President Obama met with Jessica Cox at the White House and called her an inspiration.
Nice to meet you guys. I have met people as far as Africa, just recently met someone born without arms, and many people in her community said she doesn't deserve to live. I'm not going to change everyone's mind on that, but I travel all over the world saying it's okay to be different. One of the girls actually that I was mentoring, who was abandoned as an infant in an orphanage in Siberia, doesn't think any of the guys are going to date her. I think it's going to be very important that she comes to the wedding, to see me in a dress and figuring out how to throw the bouquet and how to cut the cake with the long dress on. And for her to be able to witness that, I think, will change her in a way that my older mentor changed me.
We kind of relate because we both kind of have a hard life because I can't hear. And, well, I was pretty amazed by what she did. I don't know how she succeeds like that.
I can tell you today that if I was given the choice, I wouldn't want the arms because of the wonderful things I've been able to do. And not necessarily the things like flying a plane, but the lives that I've been able to touch.
When I came across your story, my dad is actually a private pilot, and when he was 50, he retired, and he drove my mom nuts. He stayed at home for a year, and my mom said, "You got to get him out the house, otherwise I'm going to kill him." And so I said, "Dad, you need to hit that bucket list." And his pilot's license was the first thing he did, and within 3 years he was flying for South Africa as a Springbok for air rallies. And he's basically always been the person in my life that has taught me that if you really want something, you can always go and get it. And he sent me your PowerPoint presentation. Did you put that together?
No, actually, I didn't even know about that PowerPoint until someone sent me a copy, and I said, well, I don't even know. And I later found out through some research that it was a commercial pilot who put that together who didn't even know me.
Oh, wow. Well, it's out. Have you seen the PowerPoint now?
Yes, I have.
Well, I just think that you are one of the most inspirational people alive today. You've overcome so much, and after watching it, I just thought there's no excuse really for anyone not to go out and make their lives incredible. And I know that you do a lot of motivational speaking. But what drives you? What is the thing that's inside you that drives you every day to do what you're doing?
Well, I've always been an adventurous person, so if anything crosses my path that sounds exciting, I just go at it. I just the other weekend jumped out of an airplane for the first time. So I skydived.
Yes, I heard about that. You went tandem. Did you do a 30-second free fall?
Yes, there's nothing in the world like that. Have you experienced that?
Yes, I have. I loved it. It was amazing.
It was pretty incredible. I can't really describe it. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah. But is there... So some people are driven by the need to be happy. So they'll do things because they just make them really happy. Other people are driven by... I don't know, money. Other people are driven by the need for service, to serve others. What do you think you are driven by?
Well, ever since I was little, I think people have challenged me as to whether I could accomplish it, and I think their doubts are what pretty much drove me to do so much as a child. And it became a part of me and part of who I am. And so as I grew into an adult, the same was true. I was driven by the doubts or the perceptions of someone with a disability not being able to accomplish it, or people, saying, oh, that's not going to be possible. And so it became a part of who I am, just challenging the impossible, challenging the doubts of others. And that for me is what has pushed me to do so much.
And I suppose that is also to show other people that have physical challenges or any challenges really that your challenges shouldn't hold you back. You can overcome them and do anything.
It's so true. Sometimes I've learned that a lot of people set up their own boundaries. It's all a mental thing. It's not so much a physical obstacle or psychological obstacle. It's a psychological obstacle and emotional, something they've set up for themselves, but it's really not a true limitation, but it's about the attitude or the perception of that challenge, that obstacle.
Yes, you said that somewhere, that mental barriers that we create for ourselves are a lot more scary actually than the physical ones that we have in life.
So true. Yes.
What do you think? You've achieved so much, so much, but what do you think for you is your most notable achievement to date?
I think for me, the flying and my flight training and becoming a pilot, it seems like an impossible task for even the ordinary person who has 2 hands, 2 arms, and 2 legs. It seems like an impossible task for even them. So for someone without arms to do that, to fly an airplane solo and become certified with a pilot's license, pilot certification is the actual title, that is just beyond belief for so many people. But I'm so glad that I was able to accomplish that, because it's really bringing an awareness to others that if the sky is not the limit, then what truly is the limit? And there are no limits.
Very nicely put. So do you think that's the biggest obstacle you've overcome as well?
I think it is physically, but on an emotional and psychological level, the greatest obstacle was overcoming being different. I grew up with a brother and a younger sister, and they did not have a disability. So I grew up, and everyone around me, my world was pretty much normal. And I was the different one, and that was such a challenge to overcome, going to school, going out in public, realizing that my difference drew a lot of attention from the outside world, and it was unwanted attention. And so I grew up struggling with this obstacle of being different and accepting that was a part of my everyday life. It was just going to be something I had to get over. But I overcame that, and now I use my difference as a way to empower others, as an opportunity to propel my career as a motivational speaker. And it is actually my asset, my greatest asset is the fact that I am different and that I do look different and catch people off guard. Whereas as a child, that was very difficult to overcome.
Sure, I'm sure. It's incredible, because it's almost like you are a magnified version of everybody else, you know. Everybody feels like they are different and they're trying to fit in, and, you know, they feel like the odd one out at some point in their life. And I think everybody's biggest challenge is just to embrace who they are and to live their life to the fullest. So it's a really, really wonderful lesson that you're going out and teaching young people. Very necessary. What do you believe is the definition, or what for you is the definition of success?
The Susana Kennedy Show. It's that Kennedy. The crazy caring cat. The Susana Kennedy Show.